Hello and welcome to yet another edition of the Hockey Republic. My good name is George Njuguna, and with me is my brother from another mother. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, very fine. Kama
Mhm.
kuna kitu kama hiyo, Kenyans tunasema very well, very fine. Ah,
Who was your
niko
English teacher?
sawa. Alikuwa primary school alikuwa anaitwa Mrs. Masharia, high school
Uh,
alikuwa anaitwa Mrs. Munyasia.
Munyasia.
Mm, yes.
Okay, good.
Mm,
Yes,
mm,
and we have a great show lined up for you. Of course, we're going to talk about the league, and we have something
mhm,
exciting, as we told you, introducing new things here.
mm,
Simon, who's the tech guy, has a surprise for us
mhm.
today. So our reviews and previews are going to be very, very, very detailed. And of
Yeah.
course, we are also going to look at what is happening in the news, national news, and
Mhm.
any other news that is happening. But how's your week, my friend?
Good, good, good. It was a different week. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. So I can't complain. So far, so good. Also training very well. Unfortunately, got a bit injured, but hopefully by Sunday I'll be fit to play.
Okay, good.
Mm.
And of course, you can engage with us on our socials, right on the comment section. Do let
Yeah.
us know. We're definitely going
Mm.
to play it, or rather, read your comments as we go on.
Mm.
Simon, where do we start? We start
Yeah.
with a
We
preview,
start with the
with the review of
yeah
the
a
league.
review.
And
Yes. Yeah.
good. Let us start by looking at the results of this past weekend. And starting with there was no Super League match. So in the men's Super League, we had 5 games, and that was
Mm.
KU beating JQuat 3 goals to nil, and then we had Wazalendo Masters KCA 2 goals to 1. Simon, I want us to look at that. On Saturday, we had
Mm.
KCA winning again. 1-0 against JQuat, and then in Kisumu, youngsters drew with Parklands. Parkland seems to be the team that is drawing this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have Took uh, drawing with KU. That was a very, very interesting derby right there. You want us to start
Mm.
with that before we move on to the other results, perhaps?
Which game?
KCA, KCA versus uh, Took.
KCA took.
KCA versus
Yes.
KCA versus what is it called? No, was versus Wazalendo Masters. Sorry.
Yeah, a fast-paced game. Wazalendo started really, really quick, played fast balls, took were unable to settle quickly in the match, and they were done for. The Wazalendo meant business in that game. They knew that if they won that game and Sunday they beat KCA, they would leapfrog them into the second position. But unfortunately, Wazalendo did not win on Sunday. But that game on Saturday, they showed that it's a team that you can't simply write off, or you can't simply say because they have the word masters ni wazai, or they have an old squad. No, they have a very good squad. They have players like Eli Ndegwa, who've played in the Super League. They've played in the Premier League and are back with the Masters team. They were part of the team um, that started Took, so they also understand how Took play. Probably that's one of the reasons why they were able to do it. And it's a derby. It's a derby that was a Lendo won. For those who don't know, more or less, you can say it's a Railways derby.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But in the KCA versus Masters game,
Mhm.
what do you think was the downfall? Because I watched, I think the first half. I left the scores being 1-0.
Mm.
Things seem to have changed in the second half. What happened?
Unfortunately, Wazalendo were unable to tactically match KCA. KCA were tactically on point most of the time. Also, as Orlando did not take their chances, they had a couple of chances that they did not take them. Also, I think was Orlando's conceding the first goal in the first minute of the match also was a contributing factor to them not settling in well in the match. It's always difficult whenever you concede in the first moments of the game. It was
Mhm,
literally the first attack of the game, and they
mhm.
conceded. They also
Yeah.
made, in my opinion, they also made a mistake not to start Ngunyu in that game. Ngunyu
Mhm,
should have started because Ngunyu is a defender. He's fast. He's good at identifying those balls and tackling them. But
mhm,
unfortunately, was Alendo's coach for the day. I think it was Dennis was unable to put in a few changes here and there to ensure that Zalendo matched up to KCA. They were only able to do so in the fourth quarter.
mhm,
So it's a I think tactic they were beaten tactically, especially in the midfield area. That's where KCA won the battle.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, and what was interesting about the technical bench, Dennis leading it, was that at some point even Coach Dij and Kimanzi had to come out and try and reorganize that squad once again, which was
Mm.
really interesting. And I remember, I don't know who you were talking with
Richie.
on the it was
Richie.
yeah, Richie, and and you were
Mm.
like, hey, something just needs to happen.
Mm.
Um, and at least we now saw they came back and managed to recover, but KCA were the better side. Now Simba are top with 16 points,
Mm.
um, because KCA is second with 15. Wazalendo still remain with 11 points. This league seems to be becoming very interesting. But again, KCA have no Simba have two matches at hand, and Nakuru also have two matches at hand. From
Mhm.
Nakuru, what's your take in this league?
Nakuru is a team that I can say lacks consistency.
Mhm,
Nakuru can win one match, draw the next, lose the next. They can win. They can go on to win three matches in a row, then draw three matches, lose two, win one. So it's very difficult to predict. It's usually very difficult to predict where Nakuru will lie at the end of the season. But it's a
mhm,
team that usually more often than not ends the season in a mid-table position. I don't know why Nakuru can't be able to challenge for the Super League as well as be promoted to the Premier League, because it's a team that has a lot of players that are within the region that is Nakuru. I also understand in terms of training, it's a bit difficult for them to meet at certain venues and train, but it's a team where if you look at the players from there, they are talented players, they are good players. They should be at least challenging for the top, if not top four, top three positions. Nakuru have a lot of players that have played in the Premier League. So it's
mhm,
a matter of them finding that consistency and uh, not losing a lot of matches, especially when they come to City Park.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. And how about KCA? Do you think they'll be able to topple Simba out of it?
What KCA needs to work on, and I'll share my screen on this. It's something that uh, I noticed in their matches.
Mhm,
They need to work on how they are doing their transition, especially from defense to midfield. So if we
mhm,
have a look at the tactical board there, this is how most of the time teams attack. So you see we have the ball here on the 25. Um,
mhm,
so most of the time you find that when the ball is here,
mhm,
the players will try to do an injection ball. That is when the blue player has the ball. They'll try to do an injection and wait for the deflection. So most of the time you find that KC are in good positions to tackle that ball, but
mhm,
they don't know how to transit from defense to attack. So most of the time you find that this player gets the ball,
mhm.
they come to this position and they want to do a hit from
Yeah.
this position. straight to this player here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's this player in this position. So this
Mhm,
player usually, they have a player who usually runs here, but
mhm,
unfortunately, most of the time you find that whenever there is a defender in between that line, the ball is collected and it comes back to the KCA defense.
mhm,
Similarly, whenever they get the ball here, they do try to do some switches. So you find
mhm,
that they want to play the ball back to
mhm,
this player,
mhm,
that is assuming we don't have defenders there, and the player
mhm.
wants to play this ball
The left
to this
side of
player to
the.
the left. Now,
Okay.
unfortunately, once that happens, the other players are watching the ball. They are
Mhm,
not actively participating in play. So once
mhm,
this ball gets to this position where we
mhm.
have this player here, so as you can see, there is already a defender waiting for the ball. So whatever
Yeah.
happens to these midfield players is
Mhm.
that they are not active in play. They only come active into play whenever that ball gets into this position here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
whenever that this ball gets to this space is when you find these players trying to make a run towards
I move. Yeah.
the circle. And most of the time you find that it's Arnold who takes up this position or
Mhm.
this other position on the
Yeah.
left. And that's how they
Yeah.
were able to score one of the goals when the second goal they scored against was Alendo.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Do
KCA,
you
what they
think
need, yeah, yeah,
do you
sorry.
think this I wish you could return the last the one that you're talking about, Arnold, and
Hmm.
talking about what we discussed last week, the
Yeah.
culture of
Hmm.
the game. What you do when you're off the ball is really
Hmm.
important, so that you don't
Yes, yes.
end up, you're still part of the game. So you need to be still part of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I can reset the board and show you and just bring it back how I had set it up.
Mhm,
This is how most of the teams set up defensively
mhm,
compared to the offensive players.
mhm,
So, assuming they have the ball, the blue players have the ball in this
mhm,
position here.
mhm, mhm,
So you find that these players they will make these runs here.
mhm,
I don't know why it's hanging here. So we have a player there. We have another player who usually comes in front of the goalkeeper.
mhm.
Um, let's see, like so. And then you have
Yes.
another midfielder who comes here, and you have another player who likes shifting to that position. And all these other players are here. So assuming this player has the ball in this position, there's
Mhm.
usually someone who's there. So
Yeah.
most of the time, you find that these players usually want to hit that ball, as we said.
Mhm.
They want to
Yeah.
hit that ball directly into the D.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
how many defenders do we have inside this in the attacking area? We have one, two, three, four, five, and you can
Yeah.
consider this as the sixth defender.
Mhm,
These other players, if you look at these other players, they usually just come and stand around these positions here.
mhm,
They are
mhm,
not active.
mhm.
And this is something that is with most Kenyan teams, most Kenyan clubs. So you
Yeah.
find that yes, there are two forwards standing there, but
Mhm,
all the other players are not active. In fact, they usually stand upright just watching the ball being played. The only
mhm,
time you find the players are active are these
mhm.
players who are in this 25-yard region.
Yeah.
Okay. So number one is, of course, putting numbers in defense is a good thing because it
Mhm,
denies the ball to be injected into the D.
mhm,
Uh, but now the problem comes in. Now, once you win that ball back, how do you transition from defense to midfield to attack? So
mhm,
most of the time, because you don't have numbers in midfield, in fact, here I have committed a lot of numbers in midfield. You find that
yeah.
most of the time these players are usually, let me reset. You find that these players are usually, sorry,
It's okay.
yeah,
As you
I
as
think
you talk
it's
about that,
so
this is
it's
something that.
these players are usually in these positions there.
Okay.
So you find that
Yeah.
these midfielders are making these runs here, expecting to
Mhm.
get the ball. But
Yeah.
because of panicking, these
Mhm.
players end up hitting the ball to this space.
Okay.
and this player struggles to get the ball. The attacker
Mm,
struggles to get the ball. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And notwithstanding how the current state of our pitch,
Mm,
I'm yet to see, and probably the next time Simba is playing, we need to go to the Dashmesh Stadium and just see if the difference of surface will make a difference in terms of play for that, and even just watch what how they do it. But let me just read one message
mhm,
from Omosh, who says that. Off the ball is wanting in most teams. Players
mhm,
still players turn into spectators when they are not having a ball, which is what we've just talked about. And of course, he says that good job, guys. Um,
mhm,
um, Keeping us up to date. Thank you so much. Keep the messages coming. We're going to read them even as they coming. Let's look at the National League, which is also having some interesting matches on that side. And
mhm,
we're going to look at a few games. Let me just change the screen. Seems to deny people a chance to watch. In the National League on Saturday, we had Kisi Falcons draw once again to Kitale. That's the first or second draw. And then Mombasa West had a very fruitful weekend. 1-0 against Thika Rovers on Saturday. And then on Sunday,
mhm.
they had the same score against Nairobi Chapel. And then
Yeah.
Bungoma lost their second match to Nandi Hawks, 2 goals to 1. That was their first win for Nandi Hawks. And then we
Mhm,
had Blue Pirates win against UOE. They now go top of the league, if I'm not wrong. And then we had also Dekio, who are leading the Eastern circuit,
mhm.
winning 1 goal to 0. And on Sunday, Kitale beat Bay, their second match at home, 1-0. Yes. Your
Mhm.
reactions to that?
Unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to watch I haven't had a chance to watch any of the National League matches. I think
Me too.
I'll make a point to visit one of the stadiums and actually watch a game. The National League is proving to be what I predicted. You remember when you were doing the preview, I said the away teams are going to cause problems for the
Mhm.
teams in Nairobi. Reason being, the away teams, most of them are actively playing the sport even last year compared to teams in Nairobi. There
Mhm.
were small tournaments being played here and there in the outskirts, as well as in those counties that are not close to Nairobi. So, and it's
Yeah.
interesting to see that a team like Daikyo is really serious about getting to the Super League. Remember, this is a team that has members that broke off from the Vita side, so they
Yeah.
also want to be involved in the bigger in the bigger pot. They want to
Mhm.
uh, roll with the big boys in the Super League.
Mhm.
I am vouching for them to do so, but at the same time, they should be wary of the results going into the second leg as well as playoffs. Yes,
Mhm.
you can be leading the league. You can sit pretty and say there is no other side that's stronger than us. But whenever you get to the playoff, it's a
Yeah.
knockout stage. You
Big
need to be
stage.
very careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I'd advise them is probably continue winning, stay at the top of the table, and hope that whenever the playoffs come, they won't get a tougher team from the other side of the zone. I think they are on the eastern zone or
Yeah.
western
Yes.
zone. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
but it's not yet clear whether they're going to play the Eastern or the Western zone. They are going to be playoffs, so
Mhm.
it's a wait and see to see
Yeah.
how the match and fixtures team are going to handle that. But it will be interesting to see how that pans out. Nonetheless, it's good to just like you said, keep at it. You never know how those results are going to help you in future. Premier League,
You know
one.
what I'm thinking? What I'm thinking
Yes.
before we go to that. You remember last week we were talking about having a lot of teams playing, especially those that can't afford to participate in the Super League or National League.
Mhm.
We already have the national leagues divided into regions, that is the eastern and the western zone. What if we decided that we have other leagues below the national league? We
Mhm.
can call them conference leagues or sub-county leagues or county leagues, where
Yeah.
the winners of those county leagues get promoted to the national league, and so on. Probably that's a way that's something that Engineer Majiwa needs to have a look at with his team,
Yeah.
and say, yeah, we have potential where all the teams cannot currently be able to participate in the KHU leagues because of finances. For example, you might find that a team deep in Nandi cannot afford
Mhm.
to get to Nairobi every other week to play matches, but they can afford to play a local county league. Who knows? Probably once they get promotion, it will be also a good thing that they can approach a sponsor and tell them, hey, look, we want the county league.
Yeah.
They can approach their governor or their county sports administrator and tell them, can you support us to play in the national leagues? And you
Yeah.
see in the national league, they are playing in a zone. So as
Yeah.
time moves by, who knows, probably they'll have enough finances to participate all the way to the Premier League.
Yeah, that's true. I guess
Mm.
an example is what Mombasa is doing, right?
Yes, yes,
Because I've
yes.
seen there's one ladies team that is playing in the circuit against
Mm.
Mombasa Sports Club.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which is a really good thing. Anyway, let's move
Mm.
to the Premier League women. Only one
Mm.
Premier League women was played over the weekend, and DFG and Sliders nil nil. Again, what's happening here, man?
Unfortunate for DFG Wolverines, they were denied a clear goal.
Hmm.
Um, Let me mince my words for words in the show. Let me mince
Come
my
on,
words out
speak.
out out of out of the respect I have for who was on the judges table. Let me
Uh-huh.
just uh, mince my word. But that goal went in before the buzzer was, or not even the buzzer, before the clock ran out.
Hmm.
Coincidentally, I was looking at the clock at the clock board, and
Hmm.
the guys we were with were watching the game. So
Hmm.
I got to see that by the time the guys were celebrating that
Yeah.
it's a goal, the
Hmm.
clock was 0.01.
Hmm.
So what I don't understand is this, where the buzzer did not go off the first time. It had to be pressed the second time, and therefore no goal. To me, I
Hmm.
didn't understand. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, the umpires on that day, I don't know whether they had closed their eyes or they had seen that the clock was running out, so they were already walking back to the bench to have their drink. But that was a clear goal, and it is quite unfortunate that it happened immediately after another game where another clear goal was denied.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But what's always the golden rule here? Is it's the umpires whistle that is final, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So whether or not the buzzer goes off, and the case in point is how we take the penalty corners. Um, the buzzer can go on, but a penalty corner was going on.
Yeah.
But the play will still go on. That doesn't mean that the game ends. Um, could this be? Yeah, and I'm seeing a comment here by Omosh who says that
Mm.
players need to play with the umpire, not the buzzer. Um, and
Let,
and
let me
that's
ask him. Let me ask him a question. Let
Mhm.
me ask him a question. So when the buzzer goes off, when the
Mhm.
buzzer blows, does
Yeah.
the referee end the game or does the game end upon the buzzer? Answer
Uh,
that, Omosh, and then I think you'll have answered your question. The buzzer. So what he's saying is, like, the buzzer can go off, but the umpire is the one that says game imeisha. You know. So
yeah.
that the rule is, if the ball crosses the line before the buzzer goes,
Hmm.
it's a score.
Yeah.
Kama ni blanda ya mwenye alikuwa kwa judges table,
Hmm.
then why punish the team? The
Hmm.
other thing is, uh, that goal, as I said, by
Hmm.
the time I was looking at the clock and the guys were celebrating, the clock
Hmm.
was at 0.01. Of course, it's fine margins, and
Hmm.
we are humans, but
Hmm.
to me, that was an absurd case where a team that's actually struggling to get points, getting denied a crucial goal that would have won that game.
Mm. He continues to say, but it's controversial because the ball was in the D, which makes sense because, again, the play has to get finished, right?
Yeah, what? Okay, probably guys who watch that game can come into the comments and tell us what they saw. But personally, by the time the buzzer was going off, the ball had already hit the board and uh, it had gone in, and it was like the ball was rolling out of the goal.
Yeah,
So it was a goal to me. It was a goal, but yet again, human error. But
yeah,
as I said, what is disappointing is it came at the back of another game that had a clear goal denied. And
hmm,
number two, from the reports I'm gathering, I haven't heard the other side of the story, is like the reception about that complaint was not positive. And
hmm,
that is what causes my frustration. And I think you saw me tweet about that, is that what is disappointing is that we are not disappointed that mistakes are happening.
hmm,
What we are disappointed about is how a complaint is received and what responses the teams get whenever an
hmm,
official complaint is made. We have to
hmm,
understand that yes, teams are emotional at that particular point in time because they fight hard to get that score. They
yeah,
train for hours, they prepare for hours,
hmm,
and to get such a response, to me, it's totally unfair.
hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And he apologizes, saying it's a confusion on his part. It was unfair for to deny DFG, and he says he watched the game, and it says that
Mm.
he continues to say that it's difficult for an umpire to stop the game if the buzzer goes off while the ball is in the D. I think this is one discussion you need to have, and probably just bring in an umpire on this show
It,
just to
it,
talk about this.
the rules are clear. As long
Mhm.
as the ball crosses the line before the buzzer, it's a
Yeah,
goal.
yeah.
It's clear and simple. Before the final whistle, or before the whistle, or before the whistle is blown, before a break, for a break, and the
Mhm.
ball crosses the line, it's a goal.
Mhm. Okay.
We cannot say that nilichelewa kufinya buzzer ama nilichelewa kublow whistle.
Mm.
So because bao iliingia na ni mimi nilichelewa, it's not a goal. How can we prove that? Number one, that ni wewe ulichelewa kublow buzzer, and number two, ama ni wewe ulichelewa kublow whistle.
Mm.
Or mimi ni umpire, I did not see the ball cross the board before time. So
Mm.
it's, as I say, there is an element of human error, of course,
Yeah.
and there is an element of, and to me is it's not a matter of um, the goal being denied. All I'm shocked and I'm against is how we respond to complaints.
Yeah.
That's the point I think we need to focus on. Mistakes will always happen. I
Yeah.
also umpire matches during training sessions and during friendlies, and I make mistakes. But
Yeah.
how I respond matters a lot, because if I'm rude and I'm not approachable to the coaches and to the players,
Yeah.
then I'm not being fair to them. But if
Mm.
I'm approachable and I say, okay, I've made a mistake, I
Mhm.
apologize. It will water down and ishi hapo. But what I'm not happy about is an umpire makes a mistake.
Mhm.
It's, they are arrogant. It's like they now target you for the next match. Who knows? Probably I'll be targeted in Sunday's match. Yeah.
Moving on swiftly, let us look at
Mm.
the last results for the weekend, and this is in the women's Super League. Two matches were played. Um, Another ladies university derby, KU against University of Nairobi 1-1, and then the last result on Sunday was Vikings seem to be really having a bad day this season, and JQuat beat them 3-1. That was the early kickoff on Sunday at 9 a.m. Simon, let's move on to the this weekend's games, and let me
Mhm.
begin with looking at the Premier League is off, if I'm not wrong. This weekend is not 28th; it's the other one. So
Yeah, there's
this
another
weekend
match
is.
that you are not highlighting, a very, very big match, the Thika Road derby between KU and JKUAT in the Super League,
Uh-huh.
man.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was a very interesting game.
I- let me share my screen again and try to demystify what's happening to JKUAT.
Okay.
JKUAT are a team that need to have a look at how they are setting up their midfield versus how they are setting up their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, you find that JKUAT are a team that are trying to play um, at, attractive hockey. They're trying to dribble. They're trying to play with the ball. But
Mm-hmm.
this is how I saw them set up over the weekend. So you find that they have this sort of setup. It's like they are playing three forwards,
Mm-hmm.
but one forward is playing off the two forwards at the top. And
Okay.
most of the time, you find that this forward usually makes like that L run towards the D.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they
Okay.
want to put off this defender, and at the same time, you have this player coming in and this
Mm-hmm.
player coming in, and they have some good dribblers coming off the midfield. But the problem is that these two dribblers are coming in between the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very easy for them to get tackled. And what KU did well was to make sure that they were getting the ball in between the spaces here in the red zone and
Mm-hmm.
playing simple passes out. So we
Mm-hmm.
had players like Onyi playing here. We had Dan, who was a bit deeper than Onyi. And what they were doing, they were playing simple passes. So once they got the ball, it was a matter of just doing one pass towards uh, the wider areas, and they were able to cut out. As you can see, they were able to cut out one, two, three, four, five, six players. By the
Mm-hmm.
time this player comes to defend, what was disappointing to see from Jquat was most of the time these players in the attacking phases were not
Mm-hmm.
going back to help the team defend. So it was very, very disappointing for them. And unfortunately, my tactical board is hanging, but hopefully next week we'll have it working better. But
Mm-hmm.
ideally, what Sammy needs to work on, that is Jquat's coach, he
Mm-hmm.
needs to work on playing simple hockey. Yes, of course, I understand that Jquat like dribbling. They have that flair where they are exciting, but most of the time you find that once they dribbled, they were being closed down too quickly and they were losing the ball. And once they lost the ball,
Mm-hmm.
they were not having some counter control in
Mm-hmm.
order to stop those simple balls. Can you play simple?
Yeah.
Jquat, actually, Jquat were the ones to me who dominated that game.
A lot
But
of
at the
times.
end, yeah, a lot of times, and they were
Yeah.
wasting a lot of chances. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Sami needs to work on how he's attacking. So he needs to look at how many players he's willing to commit into attack versus into defense and
Yeah.
having that midfield battle. What I don't like personally as a coach is having central midfielders that are dribblers. Once you
Yeah.
have a central midfielder that is a dribbler, they will waste a lot of time because once you'll have a player like an attacking player having a run, but
Mm-hmm.
because a midfield player is dribbling, that run becomes useless. By the time that player is finishing the run, he's covered by a defender,
Mm-hmm.
or the dribbler, the midfielder has lost the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So the attacking players now have to run back. So once they do that 3 or 4 times, they
Yeah.
are completely knackered, they are completely exhausted, so they can't
Mm-hmm.
run anymore. That's why
Yeah.
you find that teams that have dribblers, they will start very well in the first quarter, they will run out, they will have that energy, but coming to the second quarter, third quarter, they are
Mm-hmm.
completely exhausted. The forwards cannot make those runs,
Mm-hmm.
and they cannot be able to match the pace of the other midfielders. So I think that's something Sammy needs to have a look at. Jquat are fit.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are the fittest team in the the Super League men, but
Mhm.
they are not using that fitness and ability to their advantage.
I think for me, what was key in that game was that number one, there were very few cards given to KU this time round, and
Mm,
if you've watched their previous games, most of the times they lost it because of you know those cards. Players, teams took advantage and uh, and ran over them when a player was outside, whether for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whether a blue, a green, or a yellow was given. And so that was number two. They reduced on their cards, especially for the defenders. I want to remember the captain's name. I keep forgetting him. Um, Huyu jamaa wa Bungoma. Anyway, that was number one. Number two was their quick goals that they got in under five
mm,
minutes.
mm,
They had scored
yeah,
two goals. Was it in the
mm,
second quarter or?
yeah,
Um, yes, no, that was in the first quarter. That's when they got the first
mm,
5 minutes is when they got the yes, Onyi is his name. Thank you so much,
mm,
Omosh, for that. And um, it was really they took advantage of that, and they were able to contain the game, and
mm.
and I think for me that was what granted them that victory.
Yeah, yeah, and if I may go back to the tactical board here a bit, I
Mhm.
hope that it won't hang on me again.
Yeah.
Uh, let's assume that the crosses there, the blue players are the KU players. So what I liked about KU, and I can go congratulate them for having that, they were playing very narrow in defense. So the
Hmm.
three players here were playing that narrow, and then you had uh, the fullbacks coming in a bit like this. So they
Yeah.
were forming some sort of a pocket every
Mhm.
time. And
Yeah.
then you had these two forwards, they were always chasing the ball. So
Hmm.
if the ball was on this side, you could always find them coming to press on this side. And then the two midfielders, assuming these are the two midfielders here, they were always close to each other, like so. So you find that once Jaquat got the ball, number one, they were not switching sides.
Hmm.
So this player was always looking to dribble either here or go out.
Yeah.
And it was a simple matter of KU players just making sure that this player gets into that pocket, they get the ball. And once they got the ball, they were playing two, three, four simple passes and they were getting into Jaquat's defense. And this is something that happens to most teams. What you find is that most teams and I'm sure you've watched this a couple of times, is
Hmm.
whenever this player gets the ball,
Hmm.
and I've mentioned this in a previous analysis, what do these other players do? They just stand and watch.
Yeah.
It takes a coach to back orders for this player to identify that they can recycle the ball and have
Yeah.
a switch to the other side. But at the same time, you find that if a forward is here, if a forward is, let's say, in the circle, they come
Yeah.
to this position. So they are coming towards the ball so that they
Hmm.
can get the pass.
Hmm.
So still they get into the same pocket. So they
Hmm.
have one, two, three, four, five defenders in
Yeah.
between. So it's
Hmm.
something I think as players, we need to identify that the pitch of hockey is good enough, is big enough, and let the
Yeah.
ball work. You
Yeah.
don't work, let the ball work. I think
Yeah.
that's something that I also saw Wolverine struggle with. So most
Yeah.
of the time they were getting the ball and they want to go through the red zone.
Hmm.
The red zone is the center of the pitch. They want to go straight. So you find this player here wants to go straight like this. So if they get a ball, they just want to hit to this player or to this other player here. And
Hmm.
then you find that these halves or the wingers for that matter, they are inactive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
whenever this winger gets the ball, this player, instead of making a run out, they are running towards the ball or towards the D, expecting a hit from this player. So it's
Hmm.
something that if teams identify that it's a weakness on the other team side, they can exploit it. And it's also something that we need to weed out of our teams. Because I mean, and Jugush, you saw it. Also, we were affected by it during the AFCON. Players are
Yeah.
caving in, they're caving in
Yeah.
towards the D and expecting a hit for a deflection.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Let's move on to this weekend's games, and quite a number of games up in store. In the Super League men, we have Kisumu Youngsters welcoming JKUAT in Kisumu. This must be Sikh Union Kisumu grounds, if I'm not wrong. And then we have on Sunday we'll have Wazalendo Masters uh, hosting Nakuru. Right here in the city, we'll have Tuk taking on Multimedia University at City Park also, and then at 5 p.m. on Sunday we'll have Park Road Tigers taking on Parklands. Hiyo ndo
Mm.
game Saimo ana hope kucheza, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Good. And then
I've
on
I've always had I've always had a good record against Parklands, but they once gave me an injury that kuna player Parklands back in 2009 alinipatia an
uh-huh.
injury that made me not play hockey for 2 seasons.
Alright.
So I usually have like a grudge against Parklands, but sijasema hivyo ndio um, you
Your
use my
card is
words against
tayarishe.
me. Yeah, yeah.
Good. In the National Men's League, this is the Western Zone. We have
Mhm.
Kisii Falcons taking on Nandi Hawks. This will be in Kisii. University of Eldoret will be playing against Bungoma. This will be at the Eldoret University of Eldoret grounds. And then on Sunday, they host again Bay, who have not won any match yet in Eldoret. And then we have the last game at Impala Club.
Mhm.
We'll have Impala hosting Gorilla. And then on in the Premier League women, no game that Sunday. And then in the men's Super League women will not have any other game. Which is your highlight game for the weekend?
Let me go back to the fixtures. I hope I can get them.
Mm-hmm.
One of the fixtures, of course, is Park Road versus Parklands.
Mm-hmm.
That is the battle of the parks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, One is on the is it northern side and the other one is the southern side of Nairobi. Ama
Yeah.
ni eastern and western side of Nairobi. That is
Sema
a
sema tu
fixture that
sema
is.
tu sema
Huh?
tu mababi na watu wa Islando. I come in peace.
Ah, Acha kuongea mbaya.
I come in peace. No
Yeah,
money.
so yeah, I think also youngsters versus JKUAT is a good match to watch.
Mhm.
As youngsters are a team that are very physical. They have very good home support in Kisumu, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing the result there. And as we know, away matches are not easy,
Yeah.
because of course you are away.
Mhm.
You have to be very very careful about how you are playing those matches. The other game that I believe it should be interesting to watch is this UOE versus Mbungoma.
Mhm.
Two teams, very technical teams, very
Yeah.
physical teams, very fit teams. UOE play very good hockey. Bungoma are always a very difficult team to play against. They are a team that if you're having a bad day, they will absolutely brush you aside. And
Mhm.
UAE are also looking to dominate that side of the things. Kisii
Yeah.
Falcons, Nandi Hawks, two new teams in the scene.
Mhm.
I don't think they've played against each other unless it's in tournaments that we haven't known about. But
Yeah.
I think this weekend, uh, those are the teams we should be looking at. But it's a bit disappointing that we were supposed to have the East Africa qualifiers for AFCON, but
Yeah.
Tanzania pulled out. So I think automatic qualification for Kenya and Uganda. To me, it
Yeah.
would have been interesting to see our Kenyan boys and ladies play against our neighbors. We
Yeah.
see where they've or how far they've come since the January tournament in Ghana.
Yeah. Good. Let's read a
Mm.
few comments before we look at other news that we have in store for you. This is Samuel Karaoke who says hakuna kutoa point LD, hoping to beat Parklands though. And then
Mm.
he also told us thank you, good, nice analysis. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
for that comment. Let me look
Mhm.
for one more. I think I'd seen a couple of one here. This is Duke Mobegi who says, "What should we do for you guys to start streaming these matches?"
It's
Hiyo swali
not.
ni rahisi na ni ngumu.
Ni rahisi na ni ngumu. Let me
Yeah.
just answer it. It's not
Yeah.
easy because you have to approach the union and to come or strike a deal in terms of broadcasting rights.
Mhm.
Of course, you have to pay because it is their league. You are interested in their league, and at the same time, KHU have to negotiate with clubs because
Yeah.
without the clubs, KHU cannot have a league.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy process to broadcast a match because if a broadcaster wants to go and broadcast, uh, will they do it for free? I don't believe so. If they do it for free, will KHU have problems with clubs and players where they come and say, "Hey, I'm on TV, I'm on live stream, you need to pay me."
Yeah.
So it's more or less a complicated deal. It's easy to do it. It's easy to live stream a match, but
Mhm.
in this case, it needs a lot of logistics before it can actually happen.
Yeah. Omosh
Mm.
anasema Saimo, hope injury yako haiko ya Fredi ama Owen.
Hapana, haikuwa wao, lakini I won't mention names on a live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't mention name, but haikuwa wao. Mm.
Good. Let's look at the last thing. And this is Birmingham updates, and we
Mm.
have a few updates. The team was trimmed 30. They are to go to camp anytime soon.
Mhm.
And if we can quickly just look at the list itself, and goalkeepers, we have McKenna Fiona of USIU, we have Okore Quinta of University of Nairobi, and
Mhm.
then we have Obomba Marilyn of Daystar, and Adhiambo Millicent. Defenders, we have Bugwa Beatrice, who
Mhm.
also took part in AFCON, right?
Ghana. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I'm not wrong, Ghana, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, her picture is right there. And then we have
Mhm.
Lynn Mumbi of USIU. From Blazers, we have Mutiva Flavian, who was also in that
Mhm.
first squad. Let me remove this, hide this for the time being. And then we have Okoth Beverly also of Blazers, Awino Diana
Mhm. Mhm.
of Strathmore, and then we have from Lakers, Onyango Vivian. Good to see, aside from someone from Kisumu to take part in this, right?
Yeah, and also Desta. We are used
Mhm.
to seeing teams like USIU, Blazers, Strathmore, uh,
Yeah,
taking players there. It's good to see there's a player from Amira Leah, of course, the Hockey Case Premier League Women Player of the Year there, very experienced midfielder. We have a
yeah,
player from UON, we have players from Lakers, as well as Desta. It's a good mix, and
yeah,
what I like about that lineup, despite it not being the final pick, is
mhm,
that we have a mix of youth and experience, which would be required for this tournament. It's not an easy tournament. I'm
mhm,
trying to look at the pools, and I'm saying that we are not in an easy pool here,
yeah,
considering that the other teams have played international matches. They are still continuing to play international matches, and
yeah,
Kenya has not yet been able to get some exposure matches other than playing local teams. So I
yeah,
don't think, or I don't know whether Kenya Hockey Union have or NOC have factored a camp for the final team to at least have 2 or 3 weeks exposure to play other teams internationally as friendlies to build towards that tournament. When you speak to a lot of people,
mhm,
they are saying it's a good opportunity for the ladies. They are
yeah,
not hopeful for much yet, considering, of course, the experience between the sides uh, we are playing and
mhm,
us.
mhm,
But for me, I think it's a good start for the team, regardless
mhm.
of the position and the result.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm,
Let's look at
mm,
the other players we have in midfield, or rather a defensive midfielder. We have Anjao Joan, who is
mhm,
from Blazers. Midfielders, we have Kipsanga Tamunai of Strathmore and Osare Jeraya, also of
mhm,
Strathmore. We have Makoha Grace of USIU. Tracy Karanja has made a comeback from Blazers, and then we have Omwantho Lea of
mhm,
Amira Sailors. We have
mhm,
Jemkai LC from Daystar, another Daystar addition there, and then we have Odhiambo Nicole of Strathmore and Ochieng Gaudencia of KU, which closes up
mhm,
the midfield. And then the
mhm,
last batch, or rather midfielders who can also play as forwards, we have Kuria Roda of USIU, played a very important role in the um, critical role rather in the AFCON that happened in Ghana.
mhm,
We have Ushu Caroline of Blazers, Elena Chebet of Blazers, Kemunto
mhm,
Naomi of USIU, Jili Okumu has made a comeback again,
mhm,
Strathmore, Okumu Maureen of Blazers, Ochieng Pauline of DFG, Owiti Maureen of Lakers, and Owiti Alice from Lakers. And then lastly, we have two forwards, Akoth Grace and Opondo Oriela of Blazers
mhm,
and Lakers, respectively. Looking at the
mhm,
pools quickly, I don't know if we're able to see England are in Pool A
mhm.
together with India, Canada, Wales, and Ghana. And then in Pool B, we
Yeah,
have Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Scotland, and Kenya. And we play the opening match against New Zealand. Yes.
a very tough side. Of course,
Mhm.
we have 70 days plus or 70 days and hours to go. But if you look at that pool, South Africa, we've played against South Africa, but we have not had any experience playing Australia, New Zealand, and Scotland. At the
Yeah.
moment, we know that New Zealand and Australia are the top sides
Yeah.
in that pool, and of course they would be looking to dominate that pool.
Mhm.
So I was having a discussion with one of the hockey fans in the stadium, and we were talking about how South Africa went to the FIH Pro League and they found things difficult there.
Mhm.
So is it something that should worry Kenya? I
Yeah.
think not. It's a matter, as I keep saying, it's a matter of being confident in your ability and preparing well for that tournament.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if we go into that tournament thinking that we we are not matching up these teams, then it will be difficult to move forward. One thing that if I was in that dressing room with the final 20 or 18 players, I will tell them
Yeah.
the reality. You'll get a culture shock. First of all, you'll get a culture shock when you land there because you'll find that the sports village, there are certain protocols to be followed in the sports village. You have a certain time to train. Of course, they have some players who've participated in international tournaments or in other leagues, so they understand how the schedule of a sports village and how you should carry yourself in a sports village. They
Yeah.
would probably they would have a culture shock in terms of even the meals they are having. I
Yeah.
hope wanaweza enda na chakula yenye wamezoea kukula huku but, but if they are going there, who knows, probably they will be getting food from the organizers, which most of the time will be a bit different from what they are used to. Recovery period is very important. Like when you end the game, utaanza kwenda matembezi huko Birmingham City kutembea
Mm.
tembea, ama utakaa kurecover, analyze the game. You see, so those are the
Mm.
things that I think should be discussed by the technical team
Yeah.
going there. Um, to me, we are not going there for a trip. We are going there to participate in a tournament and try to come out with the best results we can.
Yeah. And
Mm.
and I think at this point it's important to note that Lilo, former Blazers, now plays in Germany. together
Mhm.
with Betsy Omala, will be joining the team.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
what I gathered was that they are also doing some trainings, and then they are sending them over so that 3 weeks to go when the squad is trimmed further to, I think, the final 18 or something. They are going to join that squad so that together they are able to gel, and then fly back now to
Mhm.
fly to England rather, in Birmingham
Mhm.
for that
Mhm.
game. Let me read two last comments before I get your closing remarks. Omosh says, good mix up of in the Kenyan team, showing Kenyan hockey is developing.
Mhm.
And then he continues to say that, Simon, we are not going to participate, but to compete. And then regarding the Kisi Falcons game, Douglas Maseria says it's a win for Kisi Falcons. Nandi Hawks must eat matoke by force. Niku eat matoke ama they'll slide.
You know, nowadays what I'm happy about is the fact that we have we have guys who are promoting their matches,
Mhm,
wanachochana, wanarushiana maneno. It's very nice. I saw
mhm.
something from I think it was Mombasa West. Let me see whether I can get it on
Okay.
on Facebook. It was very
Uh-huh.
nice as you
Yeah.
read the other comments. But it's good to see teams zikichochana.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
true. Let me look at the games. Uh, okay, that one I'm going to leave it.
Mhm.
Let me see. Let me see. I think that's basically it. Maybe with this one, Amos Hisa, who says that, Amos says that thanks. I mean, thank you so much for tuning in and just listening and watching.
Mm. Mhm.
Umeipata?
Sijapata, my computer is acting up. I don't know why, but it was a very interesting one. It was about Mombasa West were basically they they had that Grim Reaper uh, they had that Grim Reaper naitwa nini meme. So
Mm,
you know that meme, the Grim Reaper knocks on a door. The door has a
yeah.
logo of a club, and then it's like a memua. He goes to another door, knocks on a mua. It was a very
Mm.
interesting one. I don't know why my computer is misbehaving,
Was it on the
but still,
Mombasa West page?
yes, Mombasa West page.
Hockey
Yeah,
Facebook page, I believe. Eh?
yes.
Let me try and see. I think I can. Yes, I have got it. Let me share
Mm,
uh, my screen.
mm,
Um, Stop sharing this one. Let me share this other one. It's actually an interesting one. Is this the one you're talking about?
yes, that's the one. If you can expand the the photo, if you kama inaweza kuja full screen, if you click on the photo, I think it should open
Let's
the
see.
full.
Okay.
Yeah, there
Yes.
you go.
Yeah.
It's a really nice one. I love seeing hockey teams and hockey players coming up with these ideas. So hapo waliua Impala wakaua which team is that? Yeah, so it's good. Sasa wanasema next ni karate. That's good.
Uh,
We want to see such banter, we want to see such creativity. It
yeah.
makes the sport and the league interesting. So mwenye aliunda hiyo wa Mombasa West, wazee kazi poa sana. I had a laugh when I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it made my day. It made my day. Yeah.
And also not just that, even the posters. It's
Mm,
really good to see them coming out. And I think as early as Wednesday or Thursday, you'll always see them out, which
yeah.
is really nice. Closing remarks.
Yeah.
We have a minute to go.
For those who probably are looking for the clubs on social media, if you go to the Hockey KE app, we've always put a link of the club websites, club social media pages on the app for the Android app. So you can always go there and click on it to either load up your Twitter app, Instagram app or Facebook app, and you can get to follow this team. Support them, support the players who have their own pages. You can follow them. Let's grow the community. My closing remark is this, and I'll go back to the umpiring issue. Umpires do a very good job. It's not easy umpiring a game, especially a very fast-paced game. It's not easy, and we are not discrediting all umpires. We are just calling out the few who feel that probably they have the control to mess up the game and get away with it. Before you respond negatively or emotionally, just think about the number of hours these players, the coaches have put in to get into that game. Think about the sacrifices they had to put through to get to a training session. Think about the money they've invested into playing that league. And then now you look at how you are responding to them. How will you feel if an umpire was unfair against you or against your side, and they respond the way you respond to the other players, or you get victimized because someone has a personal issue with you? It's not fair. Yes, we need to grow more umpires. Yes, we need to keep them accountable. And I think it's a matter of KHUA and KHU saying these are the standards. And I keep saying, set the standards, let the standards be followed. So my fight with the umpires, or my argument with the umpires, is not that they make mistakes during the game. No, mistakes happen, and they will happen. We can't expect an umpire to have to make all the right calls.
Yeah.
What I'm not happy with, and that's where the fight is that you make a mistake, and when you are approached for correction, you are not approachable, you are not willing to receive the correction. And yes, we are human. Someone might not come to you with nice words, but be the better person. Be calm, respond in a calm way. Like I was
Yeah.
having a conversation regarding my posts with one of the senior umpires, and he was saying that he has noticed that whenever you 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 say my bad, or you tell the player or the coach, si kuona makosa yangu, I'll improve next time, that fight ends there. And you find that consciously you are aware about the situation, you've arrested the situation, you've calmed it down. But whenever you respond in an abusive way, or you respond in a negative way, or in an arrogant way, and or you start victimizing a coach or a player or a team because you feel that you have a personal beef against them, it's very unfair. As I've said, a lot of people have put in sacrifice to come to
Yeah.
City Park or to go to an away match to play that game. So if you are an away coach and you are biased against an away team, just know that you are being very unfair to everyone who organized that match, starting from the KHU president all the way to the fan that came to that stadium or to that pitch to watch that game.
Yeah.
So wherever you're, let's say you are in Kakamega, in Kisumu, in Nandi, in Mombasa, if you're an away umpire and you know that you are biased against the traveling teams, stop it. And if you can't stop it, just leave the game. Don't continue umpiring, just leave the game. A lot of teams struggle to travel for away matches, and it is very unfair to have you um, being biased against them. So those are my final words, and let's continue calling out the wrong, and let's continue hyping up the good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Thank you so much. I have nothing to add. Remember just to follow us on our socials, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Hockey KE and Hockey Kenya. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. See you next week, same time, same place. And God bless. See you on Saturday
Mm.
and Sunday at the pitch.
Mm. Cheers. Bye bye. Enjoy your week.